Hi everyone, this is Eins again bringing you the next video in our series of IELTS videos we're doing for you to accompany the PDFs that you have on the website. In these video sessions, we're going to start with the reading section, and we're starting with the academic reading. Before we take a look at the first PDF and the first practice test PDF on the website, we're going to take a look at a general introduction, tips to the reading part. So these tips are kind of a generalization of the strategies that you need to employ in the reading section. So the very first point you need to take note of is the use of synonyms. So you really need to master synonyms, because as we will go, when we go to the PDF, you will realize that the words you have in the question might not be the same as the words you have in the reading text. And that will mean that you are able to apply and use synonyms. You know how to use a word in different ways, and know related words of a particular word. Synonyms are the most common of the tricks that you really need in the reading section. So it's very important that you master them. We'll go through that. A second point is that you can always support an answer with a sentence or two in the text. Yes, you heard that right. An answer can always, or rather a question can always be matched to a sentence in a text. So if you choose an answer, you should have a sentence that supports you. So you want to have a highlighter to highlight the sentence that contains the keywords to the question. You will always have one sentence or two, and in most cases, one sentence that is sort of the backbone of your answer. The third point is you need to follow a systematic approach. So what is the systematic approach? Always independent of the kind of question that you get on the IELTS reading session, because you can have different types of tasks. You can have matching information, you can have matching features, you can have multiple choice. One thing that runs through all of them is the keyword strategy. So always first identify keywords in the question. After that, you try to find the keywords in the text. And important here is make sure to locate most of the keywords, okay? Most of them, if not all. Do not select a portion of a text as your supporting sentence if you see only one keyword or two. You really need to get most of the keywords that you highlight in the question. That would also, of course, mean you know what to highlight as a keyword. Try and highlight as many words that are specific to the question as possible, and we will see what keywords are and what words are not keywords. The third thing is then you highlight the sentence that contains most or all your keywords. So you identify the keywords in the question, you try to find them in the text. Remember, you'll be going to look for synonyms. If you're lucky, it will be exactly the same words, but these are few cases. It happens, but only few cases. Mostly they're synonyms. And then once you've identified most of the keywords or all of them, you highlight the sentence that has these keywords. After you've done this, and now comes the very important point, your answer. So the answer to the question can be in that same sentence with a keyword, or it can be in the sentence before it, or it can be in the sentence after it. So basically what you're looking at is working inside out from the starting with the sentence that contains the keyword. So you always want to start looking at the sentence with the keywords. If you don't find anything, you go to the sentence before it. If you don't find anything there, you go to the sentence after it. The answer always hides somewhere around the sentence with the keywords. So these are the general introductory tips that I will give, and we're going to apply this systematic approach to the reading section. And we're going to start with the, as I said, the academic reading. and practice test 1 on the website. So I believe you should see the PDF now. Yeah, so this is it. This is practice test 1 when you go to the website under the academic reading section. All right, good. So we're going to start. So typically you have 20 minutes for a standard IELTS reading text. You may have 3 of them. There are so many different types of tasks that could be blended into a reading text, and we'll look at some of this. So passage 1, you need to spend about 20 minutes, as is normal also for the other types of reading passages. And when you see the passage like this, first what you want to do is just read the heading. So in this case, taking us back to the Paradise City, read the heading and then move straight to the questions. Okay, so don't bother. Do not try and read the whole text before you start reading out the question. You have only 20 minutes. By the time you finish reading this long text, 10 minutes would have gone. And the remaining 10 minutes will not suffice to do the question. So what you want to do is just read the title, get a gist of what it's about, and then move straight to the questions. So we move straight to the questions, and we try and work our way back. So for questions 1 to 3, what you're going to do is you're going to relate it to the first paragraph only. Or if you're lucky, the paragraph number is stated. So in this case, first paragraph. So you want to go ahead and highlight it because it tells you where to look. And the task is complete each sentence with the correct ending A to G from the box below. You may use each letter once only. All right, so it's kind of a little bit hard because you have only 3 and you've got 7 possibilities. Important is that do not use a letter more than once. Once you pick a letter, it's gone. All right, so how do you go about such matching features or matching information type of question? So you start by highlighting the keyword. So the keyword here is Guns N' Roses. So Guns N' Roses, you have it. You go back straight to the question, to the text, and you start reading, all right, very fast until you get to Guns N' Roses, all right? So here we have Guns N' Roses. So these are the only keywords in the question. So that means, as I said, your answer is in this whole sentence, so starting from the beginning to the end here, or it could be after. It's only, we don't have any sentence before, so there's no pauses. So your answer is either hiding here or it's here, all right? That's very important. So let's start by looking, and then you go ahead and then you read, since you have your keyword here, go ahead and then you read the whole sentence. So it says, formed in 1985 by Axl Rose and then lead guitarist Dressel Guns, and taking its name from its 2 founding members, the hard rock band Guns N' Roses reached heights of success that few could or would have ever predicted. All right, so now you go back to the question and you try to match which one fits. Obviously, takes its name from 2 former members. We did not read anything like that. The key word in this answer possibility is named from 2 former members. That's the word that sticks out. We did not read anything like that. In B, we say Guns N' Roses was named after its founding members. The key word here is founding members, and we did read something like that. So if we go back, you will see that taking its name from its founding members. You see that? So that is your answer. That is answer letter B, okay? That is letter B. Number 2, the band has enjoyed, what have they enjoyed? So the reason I don't highlight band as a keyword is because the whole passage is about a particular band. So the likelihood that you will see the word band Many times is very high. And you will see that in the text. The word band appears many times. So it is not specific to this question. And as you can clearly see, number 3 also says band. Okay, so that's why you don't underline it. But the word enjoyed is specific to question number 2. So what can you enjoy? You can enjoy a reward. You can enjoy something that is good. So we go to the text and then try to find out what the band enjoys, okay? At the beginning of the questions, you always move on. You never come back. So we used this sentence from here to here to answer question 1. That means if we want to know where our answer is hiding, we move on from this sentence. That is always something that you want to keep in mind, unless we will get to some questions, and I'll show you questions that cut across or that require you to consider the whole text. Otherwise, you always want to move on. So we move on with the sentence. Having sold more than 100 million albums worldwide, 46 million in the States alone, to date, the band that came to symbolize the hedonistic rebelliousness of the 1980s and 90s punk rock period has, after much speculation, resurrected itself. One more assault on the music charts. It's a really long sentence, but our answer is hiding somewhere here. Having sold more than 100 million albums worldwide, 46 million in the United States alone. Okay, so that is something you can consider as the enjoyment. Okay, so we go and then we try to figure out something that fits to this question. C says success in the States alone. All right, so we already have our answer. Success in the success in the States alone, you have to be very careful. It's not success in the States alone, it's success worldwide, okay? D was never a predictable, maybe let me just go ahead and highlight this, success in the States alone. That is wrong, it's misleading. D was never a predictable band musically. It's not something we read there. Considerable success in America. Okay, so this is the answer that we're looking at. So the success in America was considerable because we read 46 million in the States alone. All right, so that makes letter E our answer to number 2. Question number 3, the band became. Again, band is not a keyword, but the word became is actually a keyword. So we're going to look at, and became is kind of like a transition, a change in status. So we're going to read on and see where we see this change, this transition and transformation. To date, the band that came to symbolize, okay, so came to symbolize, that means we see that transformation. Previously, they did not symbolize anything. Now they symbolize something, and they came to symbolize. So it's a transition. And so this is where we have our answer is hiding somewhere here. So we go on, came to symbolize the hedonistic rebelliousness of the 1980s and 1990s punk rock period. We can stop here and then try and match the answer already. So we've already picked B, we've already picked E. So we look at A, takes its name from 2 former members. It's definitely not something in that part of the sentence. Success in the States alone is not also something in that sentence. Was never a predictable band musically. Nothing in the sentence referring to that. F, a symbol of success in the 1980s. There is no 1980s. Well, there is 1980s, but it's not a symbol of success because it's another symbol. What did they come to symbolize? It's this rebelliousness, so it's not success. But let's look at G. Representative of a certain attitude in music in the 80s and 90s. And this is actually The correct answer, because you have the word representative, which is similar to the word that we read, symbolize. If you have a symbol represents something, a certain attitude, okay? A certain attitude. What is this attitude? The attitude is rebelliousness. That is what we see here. So that was the symbol associated with the band. So that makes G our answer. Okay, so working out the tricks again. You highlight the keywords, you go to the text, you find where they are. The answer is hiding around this keyword in that sentence or the sentence after it. And you want to make sure you want to consider synonyms. Enjoyed is you enjoy a reward, and the reward for them was the millions of albums that they sold. Became was a transition. We had the word came to symbolize, and symbolizes for representative. In question 3, certain attitude is, for example, also for the rebelliousness. Moving on to questions 4 and 7. Another type of question. So the previous one was matching information or matching features. This is a gapped text. So basically what you're going to do is try and complete the sentences with the word from the text. And it's very important to pay attention to this rule. No more than one word. What it means is just one word. Okay, again, you want to highlight keywords. So in this sentence, we've got 1985, 1986 as a keyword, because you have realized by now that we've got different dates in the text. So 1985 and 86 become specific to this question. One of the original members wasn't capable of going to. So you've got one, and then for me, the keyword wasn't capable is very important. And then also you always want to highlight something directly before the gap. Always have something directly before the gap, because it will help you with your search when you're searching for the right part of the text. And then I've also got a keyword here, forced, and then the band to replace him. All right, so that's what we're gonna look for these keywords, keeping context in mind, of course. So we go back to 85 and 86, and the question has actually pointed us to where we should look. And this is here. All right, so we're gonna start reading, and you realize when you read on, you've got failure to, and then you've got the word let, and then the word replaced. You're so lucky to see the word replaced here. All the others are synonyms. Where is the one of the members? Is the founding member Tracy Guns. Okay, so let's do a word for word matching here. We've got one of the original members, that is Tracy Guns, wasn't capable. We've got the word failure, okay? And we've got forced, we've got the word let, okay? I'm sorry about the going back and forth, there's no other way to do this. We've got the word let, and then the word replaced is actually replaced, okay? So this is our sentence. And if you want to know the reason we highlighted the word to, remember, always highlight the word that comes directly before the gap, because it can help you directly find the answer. So what did one of the members fail to do, or what wasn't he capable of? So he wasn't capable of going to, here you've got, remember, we need to insert only one word in the gap. And that one word, here we've got two words after the to. The most important word here is the word rehearsal, because you can't just say wasn't capable of going to attend, which forced the band to replace him. To attend what? Okay, so that's very important. And that brings me to the point, always when you have such types of questions, after you have put your supposed answer in the gap, read everything from beginning to the end, make sure it makes sense before you finally leave it there as the answer. For example, between 1985 and 1986, one of the original members was incapable of going to rehearsals, which forced the band to replace him. And that makes for a perfect answer. All right, so that's the way to go about it. Let's do number 5 together. And you can try and figure out, I've already helped you with highlighting the keywords, so you can try and go ahead and then figure out the answers to the rest of the questions. So let's do number 5 together. During the first tour, they managed to have good and play well together. So for me, good keywords are first tour, because it could be second tour, third tour. So first tour is very important. They managed is very important. Good, always highlight the word directly before the gap. So we go to the text, and then what do we find? We do realize, we see that the word first tour, okay, is here. As I said, always move on from where you left off to answer the previous questions. The previous question, we needed this sentence. So for the question we're currently looking at, you should have started reading from here till you get to first tour, and then you highlight, and you have to be very fast in reading because you see it's a lot of text. If you're not so fast, just scan. You really want to scan quickly through the text. So we got first tour here. And then we've also got established. For me, established is a synonym for managed, okay? They managed to have good, that means they established something. So what is that thing that we're looking at? That thing is the chemistry, all right? So they managed to have good chemistry and they played well together. So chemistry is the correct answer. So go ahead and try and figure out for questions 6 to 7. You've got the keyword help from me. Use that. Trust me, you will find all these keywords there, either directly or synonyms for them. We move on to the next type of questions that you can get. It's also a matching features exercise. And remember to use a letter. You're allowed to use a letter more than once. Okay, you're allowed to use a letter. Pay attention to every time you see this NB, this nota bene. Make sure you read it because it tells you something. In the previous exercise, we read that you can only use a letter more than only once. Here it's saying you may use a letter more than once. So if you pick A it's possible that A applies to 8. It's possible it applies to 11 as well. So pay attention to that. Again, it's all about keywords. So question 8, go ahead and highlight as many keywords as possible. The band is not a keyword because we see it many times in the text. The band took a long break during which many members decided to leave. Okay, so here you have to be very fast in reading because you've got all these years. So you really want to start from 1985 and then read till you hit a group of sentences or phrases or a group of words or phrases that talk about a long break, and then also the decision by many members to leave the band. So I read that, and that brought me to 1990 and 1990 to 1993. And it brought me to 1994 to 2008. Okay, so you see how the questions can be. Don't worry if you feel you're reading and you feel like you're not coming across the words and you feel you missed out something. It is possible that your answer is hiding very far away from where you left off to answer the previous question. So don't worry, keep on going until you hit the word or the synonym, okay? So I kept on reading until I got here. From 1994 to 2008, there was actually the word hiatus. A hiatus, if you know this word, most people don't know this word, or most foreign learners of English don't know this word. It means a long break. Still, if you don't know what this word means, it says the band went on a hiatus, not recording or touring together for the best part of 2 years. Okay, so they were not recording or touring for the best part of 2 years, and that is the long break. 2 years is actually a long break for a band. Okay, so because like musicians try to bring out albums every year and so on, so for a band to not have recorded anything for 2 years, that is actually a long break. So that's the first keyword we find. What about the other members leaving? So I found this before slash officially quit. So quit means he left. After that, you got most of the other band members followed slash out. Okay, so I quickly figured that out, and I see that 1994 to 2008, that is our answer. So that should be letter D. We go to number 9. There was an extremely long delay before the release of the band's next album. For me, all these words are keywords: extremely long delay before the release of the band's next album. So I go on and I read very fast through it. And I come across, yes, in the same 1994 to 2008, I come across the album Chinese Democracy. It never materialized. If something does not materialize, it means it doesn't come into fruition, it's not implemented. And the sentence says, the band's promised new album, Chinese Democracy, never materialized, and tour schedules were interrupted and often canceled altogether. It wasn't until 2008, with Rose now the only remaining member of the original band, that Chinese Democracy was finally released. So that fits perfectly to the statement that there was extremely long delay before the release of the band's next album. That is very important. And remember the point I made about the fact that when you find the keyword, the answer is in that sentence or the sentence after it, okay? Basically, the keywords are grouped at a particular place. So we've got one keyword here, the album Chinese Democracy, never materializing. And in the second the sentence after that, we've got it wasn't until 2008. So from 1996 to 2008, that's actually a long time. We've got 12 years there. So that makes letter D again our answer, okay? So go ahead and try and figure out for 10 to 13. I've actually, for all the questions that you need to figure out, I've highlighted the keywords for you. And then in the text, I've also highlighted the keywords for you. So your job is, for example, when you go to number 10, the relationship between band members developed in a positive way while on tour. Your duty now is to try and figure out where I have highlighted the related word to relationship, the related words to developed in a positive way while on tour. The same goes for the others. I've highlighted all of them for you, okay? Good, because we have to see all the types of questions and the types of reading exercises in this video. So in the next session, Passage 2, again, you've got 20 minutes, and this is a multiple choice question. So the multiple choice question, the long text, and then you've got these multiple choice answer possibilities. So how do you do this? Again, remember, just read the title of the text and then jump straight to the question and then highlight your keywords. So number 14 says, long boards and short boards. So for me, those are keywords. So I go and I read the text until I get to, they're actually here. So there's the word longboarding and then shortboarding, but it's the action, not the actual the longboards themselves. So here we have the longboards that's here, and then we've also got the short boards. So you've seen the keywords here already, so you can try and read the sentence and see if you can match it to any answer possibility here. Often weigh more than 100 pounds, are usually made of solid wood, require surface to perform difficult walking maneuvers, are lighter and more maneuverable today. So you want to read that sentence, make sure an answer is captured here. So we read, longboards are, as the name suggests, much longer and require a different writing style to shortboards. We don't have any statement like that in the answer possibilities. Again, we move on to the previous sentence because, like I said, your keywords, the sentence with your keywords could be having the answer or the sentence for it. So maybe you can read that, and obviously when you read this, there's nothing there for you. So you move on to the next sentences, and I read on, and I get here, and I figure out that, hey, longboards and shortboards, they've got better maneuverability for the border, okay? So the previous surfboards were made of solid wood. They weighed 100 pounds, but the new ones, the long and short ones, you can maneuver very well with them. So that makes letter D our answer. They're lighter and more maneuverable today. If you're not sure, also use the strategy of elimination. Eliminate answers that are totally wrong. For example, A, they often weigh more than 100 pounds today. If you read carefully, it's not the long and short boards of today. They're the very first ones that were made. Okay, the original were of solid wood, so they weighed more than 100 pounds. So that does not apply to the long boards and short boards. Are usually made out of solid wood, applies to the original ones, require surface to perform difficult working maneuvers? No, it's the opposite of what you read. Yeah, so wrong answers that you can eliminate, they're basically, they contradict the information in the text, or they're not in the text. These are the two criteria to tell if an answer can be eliminated or it's wrong. They're either not in the text or they contradict information in the text. In our case, A contradicts information in the text because it's not the long boards and short boards that are way heavier than 100 pounds of the original ones. They're usually made out of solid wood. Again, it contradicts information. And C, it also contradicts information because they're actually lighter. You can perform lighter, easier maneuvers with them. So that's something to also bear in mind. Answers that can be eliminated. 15, the sport of surfing. So notice how I did not highlight surfing as a keyword because surfing, see, words in the title of the text are not keywords because, as I said, you will find this word several times in the text. So avoid highlighting words as keywords that are part of the title. But here, the sport. So I find that specific to question 15. So I go on and I read, and amazingly, it's so far away from where we left off now to answer the previous question. You read on, read on, read on, read on, and the only time you will hit the word sport, okay, was here, this sentence that I've highlighted for you. Okay, so as I said, do not worry if you keep on reading and you feel like you're not coming across the keyword, just go on until you hit it. If you don't find it, come back again and read again, okay? But you have to be very fast. So I see the word sport here, so my answer should be somewhere here. And this is the highlighted sentence that the South Pacific, you associate the sport of surfing with the South Pacific. And so it was first practiced in the South Pacific. First practice, the sport is synonymous with the South Pacific. Synonymous means that's where it originated. All right, good. So 16, the same thing. I've highlighted all the keywords for you that you will need. And I tried to do a very good, thorough job for you, trying to match the text and the questions with the keywords. So trust me, all the keywords that I've highlighted, you will find them in the text, either a synonym or a related word. And I've also actually highlighted the sentences that you need to answer each question that is remaining. Again, your task is basically trying to match the keywords in the question to the actual words that are presented in the text, and then trying to figure out which sentence I've highlighted in the text that fits with which question. But what I want to say about keywords also is the fact that, first of all, if you see a present perfect tense, so has become, okay, we looked at present perfect tense in the writing videos. Has become always talks about a trend. So when you see present perfect and you always highlight it, and when you go into the text, look for a trend. That's very important. The second thing about what I want to say now is modal verbs are always keywords. Never ever leave out modal verbs when you highlight keywords, because they're always keywords. And it's interesting because they're keywords because, like, you can reformulate modal verbs in so many ways. And that's why they're very good, useful tool to help you in your keyword strategy. So, because the word like should, you could have, for example, the word advice, encourage, recommendation. So when you go to the text and you don't find the word should, look for some of these things. And actually the sentence that I've highlighted for you has the word advice in it. So you should be able to see it. But generally the point is, anytime you see modal verbs, highlight them as keywords. So modal verbs, should, can, could, must, would, may, might, all these need to, these are all modal verbs, and they are always keywords because in the text they are reformulated in another form. Another thing about keywords, watch out for contrasting words. Words like although, however, nevertheless, and so on and so forth. They're always keywords because they change tones, they change direction of conversation. So always highlight them. Again, I've highlighted the word can because it's a modal verb and it's a keyword. When you go to the text, the word can is actually repeated. Yes. Good. So that will be about keywords for now. I'll be dropping the keyword strategy, what is keyword and what is not keyword, as and when we go, as and when it becomes necessary. So questions 20 to 21, which of the following are hazards that surfers face? So the keywords in these questions are hazards and then face. When you go to the text, and I remember this quite well, you won't see the word hazard, you won't see the word face. There are synonyms for them. So try and figure out which two, and I've highlighted them in the sentence also, so that should help you in the text where to see them. Perfect. And then in 22 to 23, which two of the following are true about surfing? All right. With such questions, so you probably have observed also for this one that you're actually looking at or maybe not this one, but yeah, this one, you're actually looking at is sort of a summary of the whole text. So you should have, typically when you get to the later questions, you should have had, through the reading, answering the previous questions, you should have retained some of the information that you were reading. So it would go pretty. I must say, when I read this and I got to this paragraph, I really did not have to struggle and start from the beginning and read again. I knew exactly where to go look. Okay, so if you do a good job with the first few questions and you highlight your keywords well and you read, searching for the keywords, automatically you also get to know and read the text. Although you're not reading it directly, you're reading it indirectly, so you will know what, even if the question throws you out of balance and you don't exactly know where to look. So you've got what is true about surfing. One of them is B. It can be very rewarding as you see yourself improve, right? There's actually this word rewarding directly in there. And then for improve, you got to figure it out. There's a synonym, or I think there's a related word in the text that should help you. And this type of question is table completion. Okay, so far we've looked at different types of questions: matching information, matching features, multiple choice. This is table completion. So table completion, the way it works is, again, highlight keywords. Here we're talking about common dangers. So you want to highlight dangers and then go to the text and see where the text starts to talk about dangers. Again, once you get here, you will know from where to start looking because you've already read the text while doing the previous questions. There's actually this word dangers exactly in the text, and that was the synonym for the word hazard in the questions 22 to 23. So when you get there, you see dangers, you try and locate, it's under longboarding, so you try and locate longboarding, and then you try and figure out what the answer could be. If you do a good job, the answer is actually drowning. Okay, so when we go to the text, we can do the first one together and then you look at the rest. It's here. Okay, so I actually highlighted blue. It's a blue color because I wanted to show you that the questions that come later can be scattered like in the middle of the text, so that you're not starting from the beginning, but you're somewhere after you have used this sentence to answer maybe question 18 or 17 or so, that you can still, the question can sometimes demand you to look through again. So I said always continue from the where you left off, but obviously this is the end of the text. If you use this sentence to answer the last question, all right, and then you get other questions, and then you find, okay, the text is ended, I read it, I didn't see anything, then obviously you need to go back. So it's blue because even if you finish the text, there are some questions that will still bring you back to the middle somewhere. So the danger of drowning. All right, so that's where I got the answer from. So go ahead and try and figure out for 25 and 26, I've highlighted the keywords for you, what you need. This 5-day course is also, but cost was enough for me to know where it is. So go look for where they talk about cost of a 5-day course, and then what is the cost for longboarding. It's there. It's really clear, black and white. And then 26, what includes what? You've got accommodation, meals, and blah. It's also there. So go there and look at, go check it. So reading passage 3 is also presents a different set of or type of task on the IELTS. You've got 20 minutes as well for this text. And as I said, read the title and then go to the questions and then work your way back. So the title is Making a Sound Investment Decision. So we move straight to the point, and please always read the instruction. I've highlighted it extra for you here. Do not use more than 3 words for each answer. So maximum 3 words. And it's really not difficult. You will see after you've done this, you will see, okay, so it can be that simple. So what are our keywords? In 27, what are investors getting fed up with? Okay, so for me, the key word is getting, or you can have also added investors because it's not in the title. Investment is not investors, although they're related. So you can just go ahead and highlight that as well. So get fed up with. So I go, and then right at the beginning, I see the word tire off, and this is the synonym for that. So to get fed up with something, it means you get tired of it, okay? And what comes directly after that, in this case, is our answer, and that is stock market instability. 3 words, exactly 3 words. So what are investors getting fed up with? They're getting fed up, you just write stock market instability, okay? The trick was the keyword, and then in the text you have a synonym. 28, Janet Anderson is involved in the sale of property. So obviously Janet Anderson is involved in the sale of property. What is another phrase used in paragraph 1 to describe this type of business? Okay, so I've highlighted the keywords for you. And we will go to the text and see where it starts to talk about the real estate agent, Janet Anderson, the sale of property. What is another phrase for the sale of property? So I read on and I come across the word Janet Anderson. So my sentence is this one, right? We start looking here. So you're reading, it's like, here are some tips from successful real estate mogul. Okay, so you see a real estate mogul, Janet Anderson. If you know what this word mogul means, it means like kingpin of a particular business. So, and of what business is she, or what business is she a kingpin? She's a kingpin in the real estate sector. And the real estate is actually then the other word for sale of properties. All right, so that is for 28. So go ahead and figure out for 29 to 33. I have highlighted all keywords that you need. And in the text, you've also got, I've highlighted the answers, just that you have to figure out again which highlighted word in the text fits with which keywords in the, basically I just want you to train identifying synonyms. That's what I want you to train doing. So if we highlighted the keywords here in the text, I've also highlighted a few things, try and match them and see which one fits with which one. Good. Another type of question, yes, and this one can be very confusing. Very, very confusing. So you've got some statement and you're supposed to decide if it's yes, if it's no, or if it's not given. So yes statements agrees with the information in the text. That means it's stated again, maybe with different words, but it's the information is there. No means that the information is not there. All right. You will read, I'm sorry. This is, yeah, so pardon me for that. No means that the information is contradicts the statement that you have here, contradicts the information in the text. Okay, so this is very important. Contradict means it's the opposite of what we read here in the statement. The not given, there is no information whatsoever on it in the text. So that is something to bear in mind. So 34, let's take a look at it. Banks demand larger deposit from first-time property investors. So again, highlight your keywords, demand, or you can also add banks to it. Larger deposits, first-time property investors. So you try and locate these keywords as usual in the text. And I read and I come across the, where was it again? So I've got to look for, just looking for the words that I highlighted here. Good, here is it. So for example, here, for first-time investors, lenders usually demand bigger down payments. Okay, so we can match word for word. We can match banks, that is lenders, demand. I think the word was require. If I usually demand, it's actually the same word, so we're lucky enough to have it. Bigger down payment, that is the larger is bigger, and then down payment is deposit, and first-time investors, we have it at the beginning. All right, so clearly this statement is in the text, so it's a yes. You write a yes. In 35, by making a larger deposit, investors can limit personal financial risk. So let's see if we have this in the text. So we've got making larger deposit, limit financial risk. So I read the text and I see, okay, so there is actually something about the larger deposit that is here, down payment. So we read around it and then we go to this sentence and it says, that's more of your money on the table, and therefore should anything go wrong, you're in for a big financial hit. Okay, so what does this say? 35 tells us investors can limit their personal financial risk. Obviously, this contradicts information in the text because it says you're in, if something goes wrong, you're in for a big financial hit. That means you lose everything, right? You're in for a big financial, so the big tells us it's not limited. Okay, so the correct answer to question 35 is a no, right? It's a no. So that is how you identify the no statements. They contradict it. It's the opposite. Here it says limit your financial risk. In the text it says no, you will have a big financial hit. So there's no limit to it. Okay, so the good news to this question is there's actually only one case where there is a not given instance. So for the rest, it's either yes or it's a no. So go ahead and just as I did, try and figure out, I've got you covered in terms of the keyword that I've highlighted in here for you. In the text, I've done the same. So you just train how to match words and match synonyms. And remember, there is one where you will read and read, you wouldn't find any information on it, okay? As a tip, the not given statement, it's not that it's not entirely given. You will actually find some of the words, okay, some of the words in the text. However, the essential information in the statement is not, it's not been addressed in the text. So that's what you want to watch about it. There may be a few words, one word or two, but the essential information in the statement is not there in the text. Good. So that will be the end of the first video session to the reading part, academic reading. Until I bring you the next video, I would say bye for now. Of course, if you've got any comments, positive, negative, don't forget to send it to me. Send me an email at Eins homestudies, CHEINS at homestudies, HOMESTUDIES.ch. And we're also more than happy to help you go through the reading samples with you. So book a trial lesson with us, find out teachers that you're interested in, and yeah, just let us help you on your journey to getting an IELTS certificate. So until I bring you the next video, it's bye for now. Thank you so much for your attention.